In Canada, there are things, old things, forgotten places where history and horror overlap. I'm diving deep into each haunted corner of this country, starting with British Columbia. Every story is real, until it turns into something else. You're watching Adorable Skull. Subscribe if you're brave enough to stay till the end. Built in 1914, the waterfront station was once the bustling heart of Vancouver's railway system. Thousands passed through its marble corridors, immigrants, soldiers, and travelers filled with hope and grief. During World War I, the station became a symbol of farewells. Many families waved goodbye for the last time. Some say tragedy soaked into its walls. A flu outbreak in the 1920s turned part of the lower levels into a makeshift morgue. The Grand Station may have retired from its glory days, but whispers in the shadows say it's far from empty. 3 elderly women dressed in 1940s coats are said to sit quietly near the far bench of the waiting room, motionless, until you notice them. If your eyes meet theirs, they don't look away. They stand slowly, they follow. One former security guard quit after claiming they stood outside his car at home. Another reported recurring dreams of the women's standing over his bed, silent, unmoving, watching. Late at night, the elevator opens on its own, but the reflection on the doors, it's not yours. Built in the early 1900s, this gastown building once housed a tram station. In 1970, it reopened as the Old Spaghetti Factory, a quirky, nostalgic restaurant with vintage decor and an actual trolley car inside. Staff were the first to notice strange activity: cutlery moving on its own, chairs scraping across the floor after hours. But it wasn't until customers began reporting a man in uniform staring from the old trolley that the legend began. The conductor is seen sitting silently inside the trolley, his eyes vacant, face pale, uniform stained with time. Some say he died when the car derailed decades ago, and now he waits. A server quit after seeing him vanish in front of a child, who later drew his face in perfect detail. Others report freezing temperatures near the trolley even on summer nights. And if you sit alone after hours, the air changes. You'll hear footsteps in the dining hall, but no one will be there, except him, waiting in the dark. Built in 1908, the Fairmont Empress Hotel is one of Canada's most iconic luxury hotels. Overlooking Victoria's Inner Harbor, it has hosted royalty, celebrities, and dignitaries. But beneath its grandeur lies a long, unsettling past. Staff and guests have long whispered of cold drafts in closed hallways, phantom footsteps, and rooms that seem wrong. One of the most documented figures is Francis Rattenbury. We already know what happened to him, and the small scratch he got on his head with the hammer. They say he returned, not to the Parliament, but to the place where his pride lived, the Empress. Francis Rattenbury also designed several other major buildings in BC. But beneath the grandeur, the Empress hides a long history of strange occurrences. They say Francis Rattenbury still walks the halls, but not as he once was. Witnesses claim his apparition appears mutilated, with a crushed skull from the murder that ended his life. He limps through the basement corridors, whispering, "She did it," over and over, his bloodied cane tapping the tile. The most feared spirit, though, is not Rattenbury, but the parlor woman. She's been seen sitting upright in a chair in room 423, hands folded neatly in her lap. If you look too long, she opens her mouth, not to speak, but to emit a grotesque rattling moan, like something caught in her throat. But the real terror lies in room 545. At first, it's just a feeling like someone standing too close behind you. Every night, guests report the same strange thing. No matter how tightly they shut the curtains, by midnight, they're open again, only slightly just enough to see a shape behind them. Tall, still, silent. One woman swears she saw a pale face smiling through the gap, even though her room was on the 5th floor. She turned the lights back on. There was nothing there. Built in the early 1930s, this building served as the town's courthouse, police station, and even temporary holding cells. Trials were held upstairs, while prisoners were kept in the damp, windowless basement below. The site has seen decades of sentencing, sorrow, and silence. After it was converted into an inn, much of its original layout and features remained, along with something else. Guests often talk about cold spots and unexplained noises, but Room 5 hides something far worse: the bathtub. They say someone drowned there decades ago. No records say who, only that the water overflowed and no one ever claimed the body. Since then, strange things happen. Guests have reported hearing bubbling screams coming from the tub, even when it's empty. One woman claimed that as she leaned in to examine the old porcelain, and a hand brushed her ankle from below the surface. She ran screaming, but the worst stories come from those brave or unlucky enough to bathe in it. They describe pressure on their chest as if invisible hands are pushing them under. One man said he couldn't move, his arms pinned, water rising, until a voice gurgled into his ear, "Let me breathe through you."